Tonight we're going to be doing a comparison of two 9-inch Galaxy fans. I believe the model's 2154. I think these fans are about 10 years apart, 8 to 10 years apart, give or take. I think the fan on the left is probably from the mid to late 70s, and the fan on the right, I believe, is probably from the mid to late 80s. A little bit of introduction on these fans. The fan on the right is one that I picked up at Goodwill recently. I already had a gray bladed Galaxy fan just like this one, same fan, but I spotted this one, and when you find these for $5 or less and they're intact, complete fans, even if they're not, really just buy them, even if it's just for parts, because I mean, try buying a single part off of this fan on eBay and spending less than $30 with shipping. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, this was a pretty good find. It's even got the grill clips, 4 of them. I don't know how many it came with. I want to say there was like 6, but it's got 4. It still had some of the protective sticker, not the sticker that's not meant to come off, but the one that you peel off when you take it out of the box. There are still pieces of that on there, and there's still the one that's on the badge. You can actually see, I'll see if I can find it here, right there where it says peel. I haven't peeled it off yet, obviously, but that's still got the protective plastic on it. And then a lot of the time, these rotary switches, that gray will completely wear off. It's pretty rare that I've seen these with the gray still on the knob. Underneath it's like chrome. Usually when I see these, it's all like the chrome finish. When I saw this, I was kind of surprised. I didn't even realize that there was a gray sticker there. So the fan is somewhat like new condition, except for some reason the badge has lost most of the chrome paint. I don't know what's up with that, why the rest of the fan is in such nice shape, but the chrome paint just totally deteriorated. I don't know if I've ever seen it this bad. I've seen a little bit of this before, but that's kind of weird. I don't know. Fan was really dirty though. Smelled like an ashtray. You'll have that though. It's weird. You buy fans at thrift stores and you get them home and start tinkering around with them, and it's like you can smell all of the gross stuff that was in that person's house. It's like it's a complexity. It's like sticking your nose in a nasty wine glass or something and trying to sniff out all of the different flavors. You get like, you get all the different stuff that was in their house. The laundry smells and the cigarette smells and the pet smells and just all, it makes me gag sometimes. I have gagged before cleaning fans for sure. I'm sure I'm not alone there, but yeah, the fan was pretty dirty, but it cleaned up really good. Anyway, moving on. This is the push button 9-inch fan with the amber blades. This is the one that was nearly obliterated. I had this one shipped via UPS, and the back of the fan, I'm kind of stuck there. So I'm sure some of you guys have seen previous videos of this fan where basically something struck the bottom of this and broke and peeled like this whole plastic section up and splintered it and busted it into however many different pieces, larger pieces, smaller pieces, and I ended up piecing that back together with super glue as well as I could, but I wasn't able to get it back together in a complete fashion where I could also get the base here to line up with the bottom plate. So I ended up having to use, where is it? This epoxy sculpt. It's an epoxy, but it's sculpting clay, so you can form it basically however you want to. And I filled in the spots. There's still some spots here, like these little zit looking pieces here. Those are sharp, pointy pieces of plastic under there that I probably should have clipped off or sanded down before I did this. But I mean, it pretty much looks exactly how I thought it was gonna look. It's a little bit lumpy, but you know, from a distance, it looks an awful lot better than it did. And then I ended up using acrylic paints and trying to match the color. You can see the color difference there. That wasn't like that when the paint was wet. When I blended the paint and painted it, I could not see the difference. It seemed to get a little bit darker, I guess, when it dried, because now you can see the difference in the color. But I'm not gonna go back and try to match it. I don't know if I could ever really get it down. And then I sealed it with the Mod Podge, but the satin finish was a little glossier than I kind of hoped for. So I'm probably gonna sand the brush strokes down a little bit and try to smooth it out a little bit, and then I'll clear coat it with a matte finish, and that'll be that. The other issue with this was that I lost the oscillation arm that connects the base to the motor. I still haven't been able to find that, but I borrowed the one off of the other gray bladed Galaxy fan just to basically see it run in oscillating mode. But more trouble there, because apparently the little oscillation arm that's on this fan is not the same as the original one that was on this fan. The one on the gray bladed one is shorter. The original one for the amber bladed fan must have been longer, because it just won't allow it to turn as much as it needs to in one direction. So I guess we'll demonstrate that really quick. I don't want to run it too much with the oscillation, because as it turns, it does start to put pressure on and flex that plastic piece, and I really don't want to break that. So yeah, I'll just kind of show you what it's doing running on low speed. And then see, it just won't let it. It'll go all the way that way, no problem. Then when it comes back the other way, it stops right about there. So that little bracket arm piece is just not correct for this fan, and I still haven't been able to find the original one, so that's a bummer. But I'm gonna turn the oscillation off just because I don't want to break that piece. But I wanted to do a comparison of these fans because there is a noticeable difference in quality here. So this is a pretty good fan, but there are just some differences that I kind of wanted to go over. I guess we'll run it, start on the high speed. I did take the motor apart, clean out the bearings, polish the bearings, polish the motor shaft, put new oil in it. Everything looked pretty good. The thrust washers look pretty good. There's no issues there, but it's still, the blade is out of balance and the motor has a rattle. The thing about it is my other gray bladed Galaxy fan does the same thing. It has the same rattle, the same blade balance issues. I think the rattle is probably caused directly by the blade balance issue. I don't know. Go to low speed, and then we'll run the oscillation. That rattle goes away when the oscillation's on. But I think that's just because with that gear engaged on the threads on the back of the motor shaft, it holds it in place and doesn't allow it to wobble, so you don't get that sound coming out of the rotor, because the oscillating gears keep it straightened out enough where it doesn't rattle. Kind of let you get a feel for the motor sound and just the way the fan sounds and appears to operate. Now listen to this one. So the motor on this one has a different sound to it. I think it's probably a better, slightly higher quality motor. I think it's a Sanyo motor. I think it's one of the old Sanyo motors, the same ones that they use on the Sanyo 9-inch fans. It has kind of a distinct sound to it. By the time they started making these, I think they already starting to cheapen out a little bit. And there's no blade balance issues with the acrylic blade. It just runs smooth and it runs fast. The air movement's about the same. I mean, I wanted to be able to say that this one moves more air than the gray bladed one, but it's really not noticeable. The difference isn't too noticeable. I mean, if I wanted to, I could exaggerate and say that this one, you know, has an edge on this one or whatever, but I can't really tell a difference as far as air movement. Distance might be another thing. I don't really know. I haven't tested that. There's low speed. See how that blade hub spins true? That's a balanced blade. See how that one wobbles? Try to do a noise comparison on the low speed. I guess they're both pretty quiet. That's just, this one is a little bit noisy because it has a rattle. You can even see the cage shaking, especially when I turn it off. I go to high speed and then watch the head shake when I shut it off. So yeah, I think you have a slightly higher quality motor in the older one. You definitely have a higher quality blade. You have an acrylic blade that doesn't have any flex to it, and the balance is perfect out of the factory, and you have an actual blade nut that holds the blade on. And this one, you have a cheaper plastic flexible press-on blade, and it hinders the fan. I'm a big fan of these older acrylic blades. I wish that they would not have gone to the cheaper plastic press-on ones. I mean, these are still decent, but they did start to cheapen it out by that point. We'll do a spin down contest, I guess. Try to keep it out of the wind stream. Air movement's pretty comparable. So here's our spin down. I already know that this one's gonna last longer, so I'll shut this one off first. The gray one was still pretty good. Not bad at all. Amber's still going. And there it is. Alright. Well, that's it for that video. I don't know. I don't think there's much else I'm going to be able to do with this. Pretty much turned out exactly how I thought it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to be able to really match the paint correctly, but I was able to get it somewhat close. I knew it was going to look a little bit lumpy in the back, but you know what? A lot of people would have just thrown this whole thing in the garbage. So once I can find that little oscillator arm, this thing will be in business. But easier said than done. I don't know what I'm going to do yet with this fan. I'd like to use it, but I can't handle the rattle sound. Maybe I'll take it to work, make it a work fan, put it in a noisy area where I can't hear that rattle, but I still have a cool fan there somewhere. Maybe that's what I'll do. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching.